Playing alongside him is very easy.
It's magical, it's something incredible.
As a player, he is a great talent. He is a player that can make all the difference.
We really will remember him for what he is, and deservedly so. A great player.
To me, Andrés is Don Andrés.
My dream in football starts anew every season. Every season there are new challenges and new things to improve. A footballer's career is short. It doesn't last a very long time. And every campaign there are new challenges. And these are the ones that I want to achieve.
On July the 11th, 2010, at Soccer City Stadium, Johannesburg, Andrés Iniesta reached the very pinnacle of the footballing world.
Iniesta! Spain have won the World Cup!
As a player, he has won everything. The fact that the goal which captured the biggest trophy of them all is merely one chapter underlines the greatness of his career. Born in a small village in the province of Albacete, southern Spain, Andrés Iniesta's prowess with the football ensured he always stood out. Albacete is no footballing hotbed, but it was not long before La Liga's giants took an interest in the area. FC Barcelona and their famous youth academy of La Masia were the first to act.
In Spain exists a great tournament that is played in June, still is played now, every year. And Andrés Iniesta played for Albacete, and he got the best player of the tournament. And this is another case of that Barcelona scout him, decided he's a great player.
When Iniesta arrived at Barcelona, it was not usual that somebody so far away from the Catalonia area that actually was brought into La Masia to stay there. It was more or less at the same time as Messi from Argentina. All this is new ground in the case of Messi, new ground for Iniesta. So Barcelona, I'm not sure that we're actually prepared in the way that they are now to look after those kids.
Well, I remember it was an important moment, a tough moment. It was hard leaving my family behind. I was far away. It was a new place. It was a place that I didn't know, but with everybody's help, my teachers, coaches, teammates, I've been able to keep growing and continue improving in football.
Mejorando futbolísticamente. It was a difficult process because especially the first 6 months, it was difficult. It was difficult, and it was even discussion, not argue, but discussion in between, even in between his parents and in between us and the parents, if finally was the right thing to do to bring him that young. And this is the reality. This is the reality of what happened.
But life in the renowned academy at La Masia improved, and the young Iniesta settled down to become an integral part of the Barcelona youth setup.
When I was a young player in La Masia, that at the same time they are going to school, he got great marks and was meant to be a great student. And in the football side, he always has shown great maturity, always.
The effort that I made to leave my family behind was all worth it, and also the effort my family made to be separated from me.
Iniesta rose rapidly through the ranks and was part of a youth team already accustomed to winning silverware. In 2002, he made his first team debut under Louis van Gaal against FC Bruges in the Champions League. It was the start of a long journey he would make with several of his La Masia contemporaries.
I think he's an example of what is a Masia player, because technically is unbelievable, and and as a person is really easy, and this is a good example of what Masia give us to all the players that we were there.
Playing alongside him is very easy, and with Leo, Busquets and Cesc. I'm a passer, and if I have teammates around me who make my job easier, all the better, and Andres is one of them.
In 2003, former Barcelona and Holland midfielder Frank Rijkaard took over as first-team coach. 2 years later, Iniesta helped Barca win the Spanish League, their first trophy in 6 years.
Rijkaard was interesting because he made it into the first team, but he was a super sub almost. He was a substitute, somebody that would replace Xavi when Xavi was not well. And for 5 months in the Rijkaard era, 5 months he had a knee injury, and Iniesta played a little bit more. But certainly he was not a regular.
Versatile yet quiet, Iniesta's contribution was arguably overlooked. Barcelona won a second consecutive league title in 2006 and reached the final of the UEFA Champions League. Iniesta was named as a substitute in Paris, but came on to make an impact in the second half, as Barca beat Arsenal 2-1 to win only their second European Cup.
It must have been disappointing for him not to play in the Champions League final, but it was a fantastic time to be a football player at Barcelona. The talent of the side was immense, and of course Rijkaard. He thought that in that particular final he needed tall midfielders, strong people to stop the midfield of Arsenal, and Iniesta didn't fit that mould.
It was a familiar argument that the diminutive build of Iniesta and others like him was not the right fit for the modern game. But Iniesta and his compatriots were changing the system.
One thing that Barcelona has given football is the reminder that you don't need to be 6 foot whatever to become a midfielder. Luis Aragonés looked at what Spain had and he's like, what are we good at? Well, at keeping the ball. And obviously Iniesta has taken advantage of that, not be as good as Iniesta.
International recognition came in 2006. Iniesta made his debut against Russia on the eve of that year's World Cup in Germany. But Spain made little impression on the competition and were knocked out in the second round. A year later, Iniesta claimed his first international goal against England. Barcelona, meanwhile, were in the midst of a barren spell, and Frank Rijkaard paid the price. His replacement was ideal for Iniesta, the former Barca stalwart Pep Guardiola, a key member of Johan Cruyff's 1992 Dream Team, and well versed in the club's philosophy.
Like with any project, there comes a time when you have to renew things. We had a difficult year, and we needed to reinvigorate the dressing room. Messi replaced Ronaldinho, Xavi replaced Deco, and Iniesta also became a leading figure.
And that's when Iniesta started growing. It seemed like injury prone, but I think he changed a little bit some habits, and all of a sudden what you got was a player that little by little, every single year has grown, has become better.
Before teaming up with Guardiola, Iniesta joined the national squad for the 2008 European Championship in Austria and Switzerland. For years, Spain had failed to fulfill their potential and had not won an international title since the corresponding tournament in 1964. Head coach Luis Aragonés had built a team capable of success, and though the pressure was on, the players arrived in confident mood.
We all felt really good, because in that tournament we got through the quarter-finals against Italy on penalties. From then on, the team was quite confident, and we felt we could win the European Championship. We were very good against Russia, and then we played a very good game in the final.
Spain had finally grown into the team they had threatened to be for so many years. In the final against Germany, a goal from Fernando Torres clinched the Henri Delaunay trophy. At last, Spain were winners again.
It felt great because it was our first Euro Cup. Spain had won it before, but that was a long time ago, and we spent many years trying to win it. It's a very meaningful trophy that came before winning the World Cup, so that gave the team and the fans a lot of confidence. From then on, the team has enjoyed a very important stability.
For the next 6 years, Spain and Barcelona would dominate the global and European game, largely thanks to that stability honed in Catalonia. Under the guidance of Guardiola, Iniesta formed a partnership with Xavi that would set the standard around the world.
He's played at an extraordinary standard. He's at the perfect age of footballing maturity. Every year he improves. Right now he can transform the team. He can play centrally or wide. He's amazing, and you've got to enjoy him.
When you have Xavi and Iniesta covering the midfield and making the team tick, well, it's all for the better, and everyone benefits. So the team spirit they shared was admirable, and the relationship they had was great. But that's thanks to all the players. The unity in Barcelona's first team was fundamental to all the success.
Luckily, we also have him in the national team. He's a spectacular player. Along with Xavi, he has given more to the national team than anyone. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be part of the same team as him and to play alongside these type of teammates, because without a doubt, it makes your job a lot easier.
And at the Camp Nou, one player benefited from the brilliance of the midfield duo more than any other: Lionel Messi.
What makes Barcelona so hugely successful was Messi. But what has made them so consistent and challenging for titles during the Pep Guardiola era was Messi, Iniesta and Xavi. Xavi and Iniesta have made Messi what he was. Messi is what made Barcelona historical. But without Xavi and Iniesta, it wouldn't have happened.
The plaudits continued for the unassuming Iniesta. His dazzling brilliance demanded recognition, and his performances in 2009 were highly praised. He was now recognised as one of the world's best. His vision was making the most important people take notice.
Pep Guardiola went to Xavi and said, "You see him, he's going to retire you. He's going to retire me first, but he's going to retire you as well." And he saw in Andrés Iniesta something very special. Andrés Iniesta has got a picture of him receiving a trophy from one of his heroes, that being Pep Guardiola. He had posters of in his house, in his room in La Masia, Andrés Iniesta, of Michael Laudrup, another big hero of his. But Pep Guardiola, who has been watching all these years the lower ranks of Barcelona, of course, realised that there was something special there from day one.
That season, Iniesta was arguably the key member of a dominant Barcelona side. An historic campaign saw Guardiola and Barcelona imprint their tiki-taka style onto the watching world. And Iniesta was the architect through which this style was channeled. The coup de grace of Iniesta's season arrived in West London at Stamford Bridge in the semi-finals of the Champions League. As the game entered the final 60 seconds of added time, Barca needed a goal to reach the final on the away goals rule. Step forward, Andrés Iniesta.
You could see how neither Chelsea or Barcelona thought he was going to be the source of that goal. He's not a goal scorer. He hardly shoots from outside the box. The ball was on Messi. It was actually Messi who gave it to him, and he had no right whatsoever to shoot. But he went in, and it was that kind of year where he felt like Barcelona, everything they did was right. And for that perfect storm to take place, it's very rare that happens in history, and when it does, you have to say, well, we are witnessing something very special. And Iniesta describes it perfectly. It was a goal of destiny. It was the only place where the ball could have gone, and he went. And that, in the eye of players, sometimes means that it was written in the stars that they were going to actually get where they got.
He makes the difficult things look easy. He has a great attacking sense. He can go 1 against 1, and his touch is fantastic. He's a playmaker, and he has a great team spirit. And, when needed, he scores goals, which give us victories like the one at Stamford Bridge.
And so to Rome and Barcelona's second Champions League final in 4 seasons. The holders, Manchester United, were their opponents.
Iniesta, having that DNA that he's been given, that understanding of the game, what Pep Guardiola gave him too, of trying to create superiorities in every part of the park, that just killed Manchester United, and he was an essential part of that happened on that night. It was quite clear that him and Xavi run the game, and there could only be one winner.
Manchester United were outclassed in Rome as Barcelona won 2-0. It was a stunning team performance, and Iniesta was the master. Following the match, United's Wayne Rooney told the press that he believed Barcelona's number 8 was now the world's best player.
As a professional, as a person, and as a player, I think he's fantastic. It's like he's dancing the tango. Our rivals. I just love how he plays football so elegantly. To me, Andrés is Don Andrés.
It was a record-breaking season for the Catalans. Barcelona became the first Spanish club to win League, Cup and European Cup, claiming 6 trophies over the calendar year. For Iniesta, the following season was in stark contrast. Injury disrupted his pre-season and the ensuing campaign. There were moments of brilliance, but these were few and far between.
It was the worst year of his life. It was a year that his body wasn't responding well to the demands of being consistent, of playing at the highest level. For many reasons, he kept getting injured. I think your body responds to what your mind is like, and his mind was tense.
Barca still won the league title, but Iniesta only started 20 matches that season, and he was troubled by more than injury.
It was a World Cup year. One of his best friends died in Dani Jarque. There was a lot of things that didn't help him, and of course there's these famous pictures, CCTV pictures of a training ground at Barcelona, and him breaking again about 3-4 months before the beginning of the World Cup, and him crying, because what can you do if you're thinking you're doing everything that you've been asked to do and it still doesn't work? It really was down to a point of depression. And he's the kind of guy that always tries to see the positive, but when everything goes wrong, you just don't see the way out.
Daniel Jarque was a former teammate of Iniesta at youth level and captained Barcelona's crosstown rivals Espanyol. He was only 26 when he died of a heart attack.
It was a dark tunnel for Andrés, and he was down to preparing himself for the World Cup, focusing on that, managing to get into the squad, playing into the team.
The 2010 World Cup in South Africa saw Iniesta emerge from the darkness. He scored the winning goal in Spain's final group match against Chile and was shortlisted for the Player of the Tournament award. Spain reached the final, where they faced the Netherlands in Johannesburg, aiming to become only the 3rd side after West Germany and France to hold both the European and world titles at the same time. The Dutch looked to antagonise Spain. Patience was key. The match entered extra time, and finally, the pendulum swung.
And I think the players were convinced that we were going to win, even more convinced than myself. Some of them said, no, we will win it. There were minutes left of the game. We were getting ready for penalties, preparing the list of names, but we got lucky with Iniesta's goal.
When the ball was coming to him, he knew he was a World Cup winner at that point, before he hit it. And then when he raises his leg, with a perfect technique, how just before he hits the ball, everything goes silent. And he hears the contact of the foot with the ball. And it goes in, almost like it's cinematographic. And you see that goal, and now that you know what it was in his head, you see it in a different light. It's just, We all cried that day, and still do every time we watch that goal.
We achieved our goal. We could say that we were World Cup winners. You realise later on about the importance of that game, but in that moment, we enjoyed it as a victory. One more victory. And then, little by little, we realised the importance of our achievements.
In celebration, Iniesta removed his jersey. The T-shirt underneath read Dani Jarque, always with us. A fitting tribute to a dear friend.
Everyone knows he had such a good relationship with Dani Jarque and his family. For anyone, not just for the fans of Espanyol and Barcelona, but for anybody, it was such a great gesture from a player of his calibre to make.
He's a very introverted person. In all honesty, it's very difficult to listen to Andres speaking because he's a very quiet and reserved guy. He says what he needs to say at exactly the right time, and that's it. As a player, though, he's exceptional. He's unique and has converted himself into an eternal legend for his country because of what he's achieved, and obviously that goal in the World Cup final.
The following season, Iniesta, Spain's World Cup winner, was celebrated and applauded, and not just because of the goal, but also because of the T-shirt celebration.
You could see that it came from a very good person, and that's why it's recognised at Espanyol, and also at other stadiums he plays at. As a person, he's an example for all of us to follow. Every single youth team player should look up to him. He's the best example to follow.
It was another season of triumph as Barca clinched their third consecutive league title and defeated Manchester United once again to claim their second European Cup in 3 seasons. Messi, Iniesta and Xavi were voted the top 3 players in the world. The trophies kept coming. At Euro 2012, Spain knew their third successive major tournament victory would write them into footballing folklore. And they made history. Italy were no match in the final in Kiev, as Iniesta inspired a 4-0 win. 3 international tournaments had been won, and Andres Iniesta had made a huge contribution to each success.
It's taken a while for him to be accepted internationally as one of the greatest. But certainly in 2012, not only he won the player of the tournament, he should have won the Ballon d'Or, and he should have had all the recognitions and accolades that he deserves.
Competing with Messi is difficult, but Xavi and Iniesta, not having won the Ballon d'Or, is a total injustice in football.
His numerous awards and achievements include league championships, European Cups and international titles. The fulcrum of 2 teams who dominated the world for 6 years. Don Andres.
Personally, he's a very quiet guy, very humble. He's an excellent person in every sense. As a player, he has great talent. He's someone who can make a difference, with a lot of skill and with great vision. He's one of the best players in the world.
Muy sensato.
He's very sensible.
Inteligente.
He's intelligent. And he's a likeable person.
Es una persona.
Andres is just a great guy.
Andrés es una persona excelente.
I consider myself privileged for having had the chance to work with Andres Iniesta.
Fortunately, I've been able to make all my dreams come true in a sporting sense. And as I said, I dream of winning trophies again. To feel good, to train well, and to be happy. That is my goal every season.